Alright. I walked into the cafe and ordered a glass of wine from the Turkish man at the counter. I'm calling him Turkish. To be honest, I don't really know. I walked back out with my wine and sat at an empty table. The women were still arguing, but it seemed mostly just to pass the time, a way to amuse themselves. The blonde was searching through her bag for something and eventually pulled out a phone. Doing so, she knocked over her half-full glass of wine.
Oh, shit.
She said.
See?
The taller one admonished.
See how drunk are you? Are you too drunk to even drink? And it's only 3 in the afternoon.
Shut up, you stupid cow.
The blonde dismissed her with a wave of the hand.
Leave me alone, why don't you?
I'm going to go inside and use the restroom.
The taller one said.
Can you take care of yourself? Well, come.
I take care of myself my whole goddamn life.
The blonde replied.
I take care of you too. I take care of every fucking body.
Don't drink all my wine while I'm gone.
The taller one said.
Fuck you.
Replied the blonde.
Go, just go already. You're making me crazy.
The taller one got up from the table. She met my eye on her way inside the cafe.
I'm sorry, my friend drinks too much. Sometimes she makes sense.
It's okay, I said. Once the taller one was in the cafe and the blonde grabbed her glass and finished off the contents with a single gulp. She dug through her purse and pulled out a crumpled pack of cigarettes and a small purple lighter that she couldn't get to work. She tried again and again, swearing to herself with words I didn't recognize. Eventually, she threw the lighter out into the street. It bounced twice and then it was still.
Shit.
She said.
Fuck.
She looked in my direction, seemed to notice me for the first time. She pulled herself up from her chair and walked over to my table, wobbling slightly in her heels. She carefully lowered herself into the empty chair across from me. She smiled with slightly glassy eyes. She held her cigarette out a few inches from my face. Her hand was small, with long nails painted bright red. There were rings on most every finger.
You got the fucking light?
She asked. It's possible, I said. I fumbled in my jacket pocket for the little plastic lighter I carried around for just such an occasion. I lit her cigarette. She took a big drag and exhaled long and slow.
I'm going to smoke the shit out this cigarette.
She said. Go for it, was all I could think of to say. The blonde stared blankly at me for a moment and then she smiled.
Hey, you're okay.
She said.
I like you.
Thanks, I said.
I'm Inessa.
She said. Hello, Vanessa.
Me and my stupid friend are on vacation. My stupid friend is boring. You should buy me a glass of wine.
She said. Oh, I asked.
Yes, yes.
She said.
And buy yourself one too.
She gestured toward the cafe with her hand that held the cigarette. That's very kind of you, I said. Perhaps I will. I got up and I went inside the cafe and I asked the man at the counter if he took credit cards. Of course, he replied. I ordered 2 glasses of white wine and carried them outside. The taller woman had returned from the bathroom and she stood smoking next to where the blonde sat. I put one of the glasses of wine in front of the blonde and sat down with the other.
Inessa,
The taller one exclaimed.
did you make this poor man buy your rooms? Shame!
I don't make him do nothing.
Inessa exclaimed.
This man is a gentleman. Not like the rest of you fucks.
She said.
He's a gentleman and he buys me a glass of wine, okay? So fuck off.
Oh, Inessa!
The taller one
You
sighed.
should not encourage her!
She
Will you
said.
shut up?
Inessa said, waving her new glass of wine in the air.
You go away and let us drink our wine.
The taller woman sighed again, but said nothing more. She finished her cigarette, flicked it in the gutter, and walked back into the cafe. I learned from Inessa that she and her friend are on vacation. Her friend's name is Irina. She was visiting family here in San Francisco. They were both school teachers, somewhere in Russia I'd never heard of. They taught English to grade school children. They were waiting for a guy who was supposed to sell them some weed. Vanessa said the weed was much better in San Francisco than it was in Russia. Then her purse started beeping. She pulled out her phone and answered it.
What?
She said into the phone.
Maybe this is Vanessa. Who wants to know?
As she talked on her phone, she managed to pull out another cigarette, which she held out before me. I lit that one too.
Harold?
Vanessa said into the phone.
Who the fuck is Harold? I don't know any goddamn Harold.
She threw the phone back into her purse and finished off her current glass of wine.
Assholes.
She said disgustedly. Irina stuck her head out of the cafe.
Vanessa, what are you yelling about? Who was on the phone?
Fucking Harold.
Vanessa yelled.
Who is Harold?
Irina
I
asked.
don't know you fucking Harold.
Then why are you talking to him?
How the fuck should I know?
It was then that Vanessa realized her wine glass was once more empty. She held it out to Irina.
More wine.
I am not buying you any more wine.
You're useless. Go away from me.
Vanessa quickly turned from Irina to me.
You, my beautiful new friend. Why I smoke wine?
I don't know, I said. Irina might get mad.
To hell with Irina.
With this statement, Vanessa made a sweeping hand gesture that sent her wine glass shattering on the pavement.
Ah, shit. You see? You see how angry she makes me. This is what happens.
I picked up the pieces of the glass as best I could, while Vanessa sat smoking as she watched me. I went inside the cafe to tell the man behind the counter what had happened, and to apologize, and to order 2 more glasses of wine. The man laughed and said, "These Russian girls are crazy. They cause all kinds of trouble. They broke things yesterday, too." Irina was leaning upon the counter, applying dark blue eyeshadow with the aid of a tiny mirror.
I broke nothing.
She said, not pausing from the application of her makeup.
And as a cause of all the trouble, I pick up the pieces. What about?
The man behind the counter poured my wine, and I carefully carried the glasses back out to the table.
Don't let Vanessa get into any more trouble.
Irina called after me. I told her I'd do what I could. When I got outside, Vanessa was berating a man who had apparently asked her for change or a cigarette. She was waving the man away with exaggerated gestures of the hand.
Shame on you.
She said.
Shame.
I put Vanessa's wine in front of her and sat down at the table.
Ah, my wonderful friend.
She exclaimed.
Just in time to save me from the assholes.
We toasted the sunny San Francisco afternoon and drank our wine. Vanessa pulled another cigarette from her purse, this time offering one to me as well. I took it. "I'm going to smoke the shit out of this cigarette," I said, as deadpan as I could. Vanessa paused a moment and then broke into a mighty laughter, pounding her hands upon the table. I barely managed to save the wine from being once more sent to the sidewalk. Vanessa grabbed my hand and pressed it between her own.
Let me see your eyes.
She said. I looked at her and she nodded, her face suddenly serious.
Yes.
She said.
Just as I thought. You have lovely green eyes. Kind eyes. I will always remember your beautiful green eyes.
She was quiet for a moment and then she looked suddenly wistful.
And will you remember me?
She asked. I imagine so, I said. Vanessa fell silent, and then she eventually said,
Irina says I drink too much, but I drink just enough, you see. I just drink to make the world beautiful again. Do you understand?
I think so, I said. It was just then a man rode up on his bike on the sidewalk and screeched to a stop in front of our table.
Jimmy, Jimmy!
Vanessa shouted.
Hey Irina, Jimmy's here.
It's about fucking time.
Irina shouted from back inside the cafe. Jimmy locked his bike to a nearby parking meter and walked over to our table. He looked to be in his mid-30s. He had shoulder-length, shaggy brown hair with a bit of gray and about 5 days' worth of beard. He wore faded jeans and a Slayer t-shirt. Vanessa leapt up, pulling me with her.
Jimmy, this is my beautiful new friend.
She said.
He bought me wine.
I'm sure he did.
Said Jimmy, half-heartedly accepting my offer of a handshake.
I need a beer.
Jimmy said, walking into the cafe. Vanessa followed him, leaving me alone outside. I finished the wine in my glass, and then I switched it with Vanessa's, which was still half full. And I watched the people walk up and down Polk Street, and I thought about the strangeness of life. How it was filled with horrible things, like death and disease and the line at the post office, as well as things of a more magical nature, like drunken girls from foreign countries who liked my pretty green eyes. And for the time being, at least, there seemed to be a strange kind of balance to the universe. A few minutes passed, and then Jimmy emerged from the cafe with a beer and sat down at my table.
You know the Russians?
He asked me. I just met them a while ago, I said.
Yeah, be careful with them.
Jimmy said.
They'll fuck you over if you give them the chance.
Oh yeah?
Hell yeah, they will. The way to deal with girls like that is to treat them like shit, and before you know it, they'll be eating out of your hands.
Okay, I said. Jimmy drank his beer and he seemed to study me a bit, as if he were trying to figure me out. He pulled a plastic bag of weed from his backpack and put some in a little pipe. He lit it, took a few hits, and passed it to me. I took a long hit, coughed, and handed it back to him.
This is the good shit.
Jimmy said. I can tell, I replied.
What do you do?
Jimmy asked me. I got 3 months of unemployment left, I said. And I write.
Yeah, you look like somebody who writes.
Jimmy said.
What do you write?
Poems and stories, I said.
About what?
I don't know, I said, about this. I motioned with both my hands to everything and nothing in particular. Jimmy nodded in a way that suggested he understood but didn't necessarily approve.
You gonna write about the Russians?
Maybe,
Shit.
Jimmy said.
Those bitches aren't worth writing about. I'm writing an espionage novel. I got me an agent and everything.
Oh yeah?
Oh, hell yeah. You just wait. People are gonna buy the shit out of my book. I'm just gonna coast.
Sounds good, I said. We both took a few more hits from Jimmy's pipe. Eventually he returned it to his bag and he pulled out a business card and gave it to me. It had his name and a phone number and a picture of a marijuana plant.
You ever want the good stuff, you give me a call.
He said.
Just remind me who you are because I don't sell to just anybody. And you need a medical card, but I can get you one of them too.
Thanks, I said.
All right then.
Jimmy said. He finished what was left of his beer, retrieved his bike from the parking meter, and weaved his way down the sidewalk. I drank my wine, watching him disappear. And I could hear Anessa and Irena inside the cafe talking loudly, or arguing, or whatever it was they did. Right then, a sky blue El Camino pulled up and stopped in front of the street in front of me. The thing sparkled in the sunlight as if it had just come off the assembly line. A Latino man with a shaved head and sunglasses sat behind the wheel. He sat there in front of the cafe, gunning the engine, rings glistening on his hands that gripped the steering wheel. Irena stuck her head out of the cafe door.
Inessa!
She shouted.
It's Harold! Hurry!
God, where? Who the fuck is Harold?
Inessa's voice bellowed from inside the cafe.
Harold, the guy with the rings! Hurry!
Irena climbed inside the El Camino and sat close to the Latino man. A moment later, Inessa scrambled out of the cafe. She tripped on the sidewalk, and she was up again before I could try and help. She grabbed her shoe that had come off and squeezed into the car next to Irena. The Latino man gunned the engine even louder. Inessa glanced my way, smiled, and gave a little wave. And I waved back. And the El Camino sped off towards the ocean with much noise and exhaust. After it was gone, everything felt strangely and suddenly quiet and a bit empty. I finished my glass of wine and walked a few blocks back to the post office. The line was even longer than before. I walked in, I sucked it up, and I waited. Thank you.